Hi everyone, it's Julia Schaefer and welcome to another episode of Farewell My Manicure TV. Today's episode is very exciting because we're going to have our very first competition. And what's the prize, I hear you ask? Well, I have a dozen of those amazing environmentally friendly, sustainable bamboo toothbrushes to give away to you. The ones I talked about in the first episode. And how do you win them? Well, you need to hop over to our Facebook page, Farewell My Manicure, give us a like, and I want to hear your handmade gift suggestions for Christmas, because seriously, we could all use a little bit of help in that area. And it fits right in with what's on this week's episode. I go down to the shed and I show you how to make some decorative wall plaques, which are a terrific Christmas gift. When we get down and dirty in the garden, I talk to you about the benefits of growing cucumbers. And right now, because the weather's getting hot, I want to talk to you about sustainable options for keeping your family hydrated. Welcome to Farewell My Manicure TV. Let's get started, shall we? Manicure. Man, wasn't it a scorcher today? Here it got to 37 degrees in the hinterland. How many of you drank heaps more water today than you usually do? Well, good on you for doing that, because it's really important to stay hydrated. But, there's always a but. How many of you bought lots of bottles of water today? More than you would usually do. It's the bottles that are the problem. It's one of those single-use items that are actually wreaking havoc on our planet. It's not only the fact that these bottles take hundreds of years to break down, so they sit in landfill and just accumulate and accumulate, but also that the production of this bottle produces a lot of CO2, and then the transport of the bottled water to your supermarket or your grocery store, whatever. So it's really not good all the way around. There are a couple of things that you can do to reduce your use of these bottles. The first one is to get a filter on your tap in the kitchen, so that your children can help themselves and you can help yourself to filtered water out of your kitchen sink. The second is to make sure that you buy a reusable, refillable bottle. It could be a BPA-free plastic bottle, a stainless steel bottle, or even a glass recyclable bottle. The glass ones are a little bit iffy because I know that you might not want them rolling around in the car with you. Could be a bit of a danger, but choose something that your family is comfortable with, something that stops you from using these types of single-use items. And the other thing is, when you go to a restaurant, order tap water instead of bottled water. And don't get me started about the imported stuff. The fact is that Australia has some of the cheapest and cleanest drinking water in the world. So it's just 3 simple steps that you can do that will help you walk a little bit lighter on the planet. And you'll be teaching the new generation, the upcoming generation, and hopefully one day it'll just be the way things are, that we don't have these at all in our lives. It's really scary to know that Christmas is just around the corner. But if you're a handy person like myself, then it's time to get busy in the shed and make some homemade gifts, because everyone really appreciates something that you've put your heart and soul into making for them at Christmas time. I'm going to make some decorative plaques with the words surf, sun and sand on them. Colour them a nice beachy colour, and they'll be terrific in a particular person's home for their Christmas gift. This is actually called a mini drill. Show you what it looks like. And if you've got a manicure like I do, you probably recognise one of these have been hanging in your nail salon with a tool attached to it, and they use it to grind back your acrylic before they put the next layer on. Well, it's basically a little motor with a spinny part at the end, a mini drill, and it has a whole heap of attachments that come with it. In fact, this is the whole little kit and toolbox that comes with it. Isn't that cool? So there's things from grinding discs to polishing discs to drill bits of all different shapes and sizes for gouging and scraping and scratching and cleaning. It's a really useful tool, particularly. So I've drawn it out roughly on my piece of timber, and now it's time to put on our protective equipment. My husband keeps giving me a hard time about it. It's not PPG, it's personal protective equipment. So that's what we're going to do. Firstly, of course, because there's a rotating motor, we don't want to scalp ourselves, put our hair up and get it out the way. Then, it is a little bit noisy, so it might be a good idea to have some ear protection on as well. So we'll do that. And because I need to see, I'm going to wear my normal reading glasses, but if you don't need reading glasses, then of course wear some proper eye protection, because it will throw up a bit of sawdust as we go. Okay, now in order to gouge out our word surf, what we've got to do first is get a grinder bit, which is a little tiny bit like this. It's actually very rough on the edge, on the edges, on the top, and we have to insert this into the mini drill. You have to press on this little button. It stops the internal mechanism from spinning, and untwist what they call the collet. It's like the collar really. Untwist it, and this is what the bits go into. So we untwist, this is taking a long time. We put the bit into this section here to hold it in place, and then we put the collet back on and screw it down, holding all the time that button down so that it stops the internal mechanism from twisting. So there we go. So that's in place now, and this is going to gouge out the outline of the letter S to start with, and then we'll go back in with a cutting tool, which is a lot bigger and a lot harsher, lots of little blades on it, and it'll go in and we'll cut out the center part of the word, of the lettering as well. So we'll start with this one. I also wanted to point out that sometimes this can be quite heavy to hang on to while you're doing a long piece of work, and so we've jigged this hook up so we can actually hook this part up and attach the extension handle, and then all you're using is this part, which is a lot lighter in your grip. But just for today, I'm just going to use the tool as is. So before we get started, I've put on my ear protection and I've clamped the piece of pine board to the table, because as you're using both hands to control the little spinning drill, you need to have it solidly attached so that it doesn't move. Okay, we're going to get started. So I've gouged all the way around the letter S now, and I'm going to attach a cutting bit that's going to take out more of the inside of the letter and make it quite deep, because we're going to roller over it with some paint, and we don't want any parts of the letter being touched by the paint, so we want to gouge that quite deeply. Now, one thing I forgot to mention before is the kit comes with all of these amazing tools, but I ended up going out and buying an extra couple of bits that gouge out a lot deeper than the ones that came with the kit. I just found that it was really time consuming, whereas if you can get a bit that's got a lot bigger surface area, it's going to rip through it a lot quicker. The other thing I forgot to mention too is when we're changing over, we're loosening the collet, removing the bit and putting the new bit in. Once your finger's on that button, you also give it a little spanner, and it's a good idea to give it a little bit of a twist as well, just because your finger tight's not good enough. Once it's rotating, it will jiggle out, so give it a twist with the spanner as well. Okay, so I'm ready now to cut out the center of the S, and you know what, even if you've done a really terrible job with doing the outline of the letters, don't worry about it, because this will rip through it and create a really nice smooth surface. Then after that, we replace this tip with a sanding tip to give it a nice smooth surface inside. So in the spirit of here's one I prepared earlier, here's one I prepared earlier. So can you see how it's all been gouged out? It's really quite deep. That cutting bit is fantastic. It just chews through it, and it was done in half the time that it took me to do the other two words, because I was using a smaller cutting bit. So it's well worth investing the extra $10 I think it cost me at Bunnings to buy the extra cutting bit. But yeah, okay, so it's all ready to go. What I'm going to do is give it a quick sand around the corners to make sure that they're not sharp, roller over it with some paint, and of course the paint won't go into the center that I've cut out. Then we'll let it dry, give it another little bit of a quick sand over and distress it a little bit so that it looks really beachy and sort of retro. So I've got these really cool little mini paint roller trays and a little mini paint roller. I've put in some acrylic paint, some blue and some white, and I'm just going to roller it onto the little roller, get it well and truly covered. And I don't mind that it's going to be a bit dotty with white and blue, because I think that's going to lend itself to the retro sort of look that I'm going for. Okay, so once it's well and truly coated, roller over gently your board. And I'm just going to show you that. Can you see that? So it's not touching the gouged out areas, which is exactly what I wanted to happen. Keep going till the whole board's covered. Now, of course, if you make the mistake of going too deep or pressing too hard with your roller, once it's dry, you can get your multi-tool out again and gouge out any that the paint has accidentally touched. But thankfully, this big cutting tool that I've been using, cutting bit, seems to have worked really effectively at getting down low into the timber. Well, there you have it, sun, surf and sand. Don't you reckon they're going to look really great in someone's beachy sort of house? I think so. They look great on a bookshelf, or perhaps attached together with some nautical rope with knots in it and hanging on the wall like a wall hanging. I reckon it'll look terrific, so someone's up for a big surprise this Christmas. Hey, and I'd really like it if you'd get involved too. Instead of getting caught up in the consumerism of Christmas, why don't you think about some handmade gifts for your friends? So today we're going to look at cucumbers and why you should grow cucumbers in your garden. Well, you might not be aware, but this little cucumber, inside it contains all the vitamins and minerals that your body requires. One cucumber contains vitamins B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, C, folic acid, iron, calcium, magnesium, potassium and zinc. I think I covered them all. So they're all in this little dynamic package, so why wouldn't you grow them? I'll tell you some other reasons that you should have cucumbers growing also. They're useful around the home. If you have a bathroom mirror that keeps fogging up, a few slices of cucumber, wipe over your mirror and it will stop it from fogging. How about that one? In fact, you can fix squeaky hinges with slices of cucumber. You can polish your shoes with slices of cucumber. Very handy to have around. And also, if you have grubs and slugs in your garden, all you need are these little aluminium pie plates and a few slices of cucumber. The cucumber, something in the cucumber, a chemical, has a chemical reaction with the aluminium and it creates a stench that us humans can't smell, but is devastating to the bugs and slugs. They hate it and they'll flee the area, so it's terrific to keep them out of your garden. You've probably heard about the one where you put sliced cucumber on your eyes. There's a chemical in the cucumber that reduces the puffiness. It actually helps tighten the skin, so you can actually rub it on your cellulite and it reduces the appearance of cellulite as well. Go figure. But now, one of the most important things that you should know about having cucumber in your diet is that coming up to the silly season when we all overindulge a little bit on the wine and champagne, it can actually help you prevent having a really bad hangover. So what you need to do is just before bed you eat a number of slices of cucumber, and in there's enough sugar, B vitamins and electrolytes to replace what the body has lost. So it actually avoids the hangover, and more than that, it avoids that horrible headache that you can get. So why wouldn't you grow a cucumber in your yard? If you need an excuse, now you've got lots and lots of reasons. Now, important thing about sowing cucumber seeds, sow in late spring or early summer, and when they start to produce, you need to be taking them off the vine because that just increases the amount of time that you'll be getting cucumbers off your vine. Also, they need support. So wherever you plant them, you need to have trellising or something to support them. And really, they're quite easy to grow. So I think that you really have no excuses now. You need to go out and plant some cucumber and enjoy the results. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and join us on the website www.farewellmymanicure.com. See you next time.